Suddenly, a lantern flared behind the iron door. Its light shone through a narrow gap. For an instant, Mowgli saw the speaker's silhouette. A tall man in a suit. Not a hunter. A city man. Before anyone could say more, a stone shifted beneath Gray Brother's paw. Click. The sound echoed through the temple. Silence fell behind the door. Then came a sharp command. Someone is out there. Boots rushed toward the entrance. Batman already had a tool in hand. We have seconds. Mowgli's eyes flashed. Catch one alive, he whispered. The corridor was narrow, with fallen stones and hanging roots. Working swiftly, Mowgli looped a vine across the passage while Batman positioned himself above a cracked archway. Mother Wolf and Gray Brother crouched in the darkness on either side. The iron door burst open. 3 men rushed out with lanterns. The first hunter hit the vine. Snap. He tumbled forward. Before he could shout, Batman dropped from above and pinned him to the floor. The other 2 recoiled in alarm. Mother Wolf sprang from the shadows with a thunderous growl. The men fled back through the doorway, slamming it shut behind them. In moments, the captured hunter found himself surrounded. Batman held the man fast. Talk, he said. The hunter swallowed nervously. I don't know much, I swear. Who is the buyer? Mowgli demanded. The hunter glanced toward the iron door. We never learned his real name. We only know his symbol. With trembling fingers, he drew a mark in the dust. It was a black bat. Batman stared at it. Impossible, he murmured. The hunter shook his head. That's all we know. The buyer uses the bat symbol and operates from Gotham Harbor. We've never seen his face. A distant horn echoed through the temple. Not from the jungle. From the river beyond. A boat was approaching earlier than expected. Batman rose. Someone is impersonating me, or using my symbol. The horn sounded again. The meeting was beginning. The horn echoed a 3rd time, long and low. Batman's jaw tightened. If the buyer is at Gotham Harbor, we move now. Leaving the bound hunter behind for the authorities to find, the companions raced from the ruined temple. Dawn painted the horizon silver as they followed the river toward the great city. Soon the jungle gave way to roads, warehouses, and towering buildings. Gotham Harbor lay ahead, shrouded in fog. Ships rocked against the docks. Crates were being loaded onto a black cargo vessel. Batman pointed. There. On the side of the ship was a painted bat symbol. Not his symbol exactly, but a twisted imitation. From atop a stack of containers, Mowgli watched as a tall man in a dark coat directed the operation. Hunters from the temple were delivering cages filled with wolves and other captured animals. Mother Wolf's growl rumbled like distant thunder. Free people, she whispered. Then the man in the coat turned. For a brief moment, his face emerged from the fog. Batman recognized him. Dr. Hugo Strange. One of Gotham's most dangerous schemers. As if sensing danger, Strange looked directly toward their hiding place. A siren suddenly blared across the harbor. The ship's crew began pulling up the gangplank. The vessel was preparing to leave. Mowgli grinned, as only a man-cub of the jungle could. Before anyone could stop him, he slipped from shadow to shadow, darting beneath trucks, crates, and coils of rope. The harbor men were watching the ship, not the ground. In moments, Mowgli reached the gangplank. He climbed aboard unseen. The deck smelled of oil, salt water, and frightened animals. Rows of cages lined the cargo hold below. Wolves, deer, monkeys, and great jungle cats stared out through iron bars. A gray wolf lifted its head. Brother. Quiet, Mowgli whispered. Using a ring of keys hanging from a nearby hook, he began unlocking cages one by one. Click. A wolf stepped free. Click. A deer bounded out. Click. A black panther emerged silently from the shadows, stretching its muscles after long captivity. The animals remained calm, waiting for Mowgli's signal. Then a voice rang out above. "The boy is on the ship." A hunter had spotted him. Alarms sounded across the deck. Footsteps thundered down the stairs, toward the cargo hold. At the same moment, Batman appeared on a crane overlooking the harbor, while Mother Wolf and Gray Brother raced along the docks below. Hugo Strange pointed toward the ship. "Capture the man-cub." The cargo hold had become a powder keg. Dozens of newly freed animals stood ready. Mowgli sprang atop a crate and gave the call of the free people, a sharp cry that rang through the cargo hold. The animals answered. Wolves gathered at his side. The Black Panther's eyes gleamed in the dim light. Even the monkeys stopped chattering and turned to watch. "The hunters come," Mowgli shouted. "Stand together." The first hunters charged down the stairs. They stopped abruptly. Instead of frightened captives, they found a wall of growling wolves and glaring eyes. Mother Wolf's teaching had been true. When the pack stands as one, few dare challenge it. A hunter lunged forward. The Black Panther sprang past him like a shadow. Another hunter dropped his weapon and fled. Soon the cargo hold was chaos. Wolves darted between crates. Monkeys swung from ropes overhead. Deer and antelope stampeded through open passageways, scattering the crew. Above deck, Batman swooped from the harbor crane onto the ship. Hugo Strange retreated toward the bridge, barking orders into a radio. "Get us away from the dock." The ship's engines roared to life. The vessel began pulling away from Gotham Harbor. Mowgli looked up through a hatch and saw Batman fighting his way toward the bridge. But Strange was almost there. If he reached it, he could steer the ship into open water. Mowgli saw the deck shudder as the ship edged away from the dock. "To the engines," he cried. The wolves followed at once. The panther glided beside them. Monkeys scrambled overhead, swinging through pipes and beams. Deep in the belly of the ship, the engine room thundered like a trapped storm. Huge machines churned, shafts spun, the vessel gathered speed. Mowgli remembered the lessons of the jungle. A herd can stop what a lone beast cannot. He pointed to a stack of heavy cargo pallets. "Push." Wolves strained against ropes. Monkeys loosened chains. The panther leapt onto a release lever. With a deafening crash, crates slid across the floor and jammed against the drive machinery. Krang. The engines shrieked. Steam burst from pipes. Warning lights flashed red. Above deck, sailors stumbled as the ship lurched to a halt. The vessel drifted sideways and bumped heavily against the harbor pier instead of escaping into open water. At that same moment, Batman reached the bridge. Hugo Strange spun around, trapped between the dark night and the windows overlooking the harbor. Police sirens echoed across the water. Strange glanced outside and smiled strangely. "You're too late." He pressed a hidden button on a control panel. Somewhere below the ship, a loud metallic clank echoed through the hull. Batman frowned. "What did you do?" Strange only smiled. Mowgli heard the sound too. It had not come from the engines. It had come from beneath the cargo hold. A secret compartment. Mowgli's ears were as keen as any wolf's. The metallic clang had come from below, not from the engines, not from the cargo hold. "With me," he called. Gray Brother and the Black Panther followed as Mowgli raced through the lower decks. Steam hissed from damaged pipes. Red warning lights flashed across narrow corridors. At the very bottom of the ship, behind a row of fuel tanks, Mowgli found a steel hatch that had slid open only moments before. A cold draft rose from within. They descended a narrow ladder. The hidden compartment was unlike the rest of the vessel. It was clean, secret, and filled with equipment. Maps of Gotham covered the walls. Crates bore the same false bat symbol used by Strange. In the center stood a reinforced cage. Inside was a prisoner. An old man with a white beard looked up as Mowgli approached. "At last," he said calmly, "someone found me." "Who are you?" asked Mowgli. The man stepped into the light. Professor Harcourt, I discovered what Strange was really after. He pointed to a large crate nearby. The lid had sprung open when Strange pressed the button. Inside was not treasure, nor weapons. It was a collection of ancient jungle artifacts taken from temples throughout the forest, including a carved stone tablet from the ruined temple they had visited. The professor's face grew grave. Strange has been stealing relics to locate something hidden beneath the jungle. He believes the tablet reveals the location of a forgotten city. Suddenly the ship trembled. Above them came shouting. Batman and Hugo Strange were still struggling on the bridge. The professor pointed to the tablet. Take it. If Strange escapes with its secrets, he'll return to the jungle with an army. Then a radio crackled on a nearby desk. A voice shouted, Boss, helicopter approaching the bridge. Hugo Strange had planned an escape. Mowgli seized the stone tablet. It was heavier than it looked. Carved with ancient symbols of wolves, rivers, and a city hidden beneath tangled roots. There was no time to study it. Come, cried Mowgli. Professor Harcourt hurried behind him, while Gray Brother and the Black Panther bounded up the ladder. The ship shook again. Above deck, the roar of rotor blades cut through the fog. A helicopter was descending toward the bridge. By the time Mowgli reached the upper deck, the scene was chaos. Police boats surrounded the vessel. Batman and Hugo Strange fought across the bridge roof. The helicopter hovered nearby, its side door open. Strange saw Mowgli emerge, carrying the tablet. His eyes widened. The map. With surprising speed, Strange broke away from Batman and sprinted toward the helicopter's landing skid. Batman lunged after him. For a moment, both men hung above the harbor, balanced on the edge of the bridge roof. The tablet in Mowgli's hands seemed to catch the morning sunlight. Strange glanced toward it again. That brief distraction was enough. Batman seized Strange's coat. The villain lost his footing. The helicopter crew pulled away in panic as Strange dangled over the water. Police boats surged beneath them. It's over, Strange, Batman said. Realizing he had lost, Strange released a bitter laugh and surrendered. Cheers rose from the docks as officers took him into custody. The captured animals were freed, the hunters were arrested, Gotham Harbor was safe once more. Yet Batman's attention returned to the stone tablet. Professor Harcourt studied its carvings carefully. This is only part of the map, he said. The forgotten city is real, and somewhere deep beyond the Seoni Hills, another piece still waits. Mother Wolf looked toward the distant jungle. Gray Brother wagged his tail. A new adventure was calling. Mowgli looked from the jungle on the horizon to the towering skyline of Gotham. The jungle will wait, he said. Strange may have friends still hiding here. Batman nodded. Then we start with his network. For several days, Mowgli remained in Gotham with Mother Wolf, Gray Brother, and Professor Harcourt. The city was a strange forest of stone. Its canyons were streets. Its monkeys rode in automobiles instead of trees. Batman led them through abandoned warehouses, hidden tunnels, and secret rooms once used by Hugo Strange. One rainy evening, they discovered something troubling. In a hidden office beneath an old theater, Batman found a wall covered with maps and coded messages. Most referred to animal smuggling and stolen artifacts. But one message had been circled in red. Project Red Flower. Mowgli frowned. Among the free people, *Red Flower was the name of fire. Professor Harcourt adjusted his spectacles. This note mentions shipments of chemicals and equipment being sent outside the city. Batman examined another document. And they're being sent toward the edge of the jungle. Mother Wolf growled softly. Fire and the jungle are bad companions. Then Gray Brother sniffed a desk drawer and pawed it open. Inside was a small metal key. Attached to it was a tag. Pier 39, Locker 17. Batman looked at Mowgli. Whatever remains of Strange's operation, This may lead us to it. Outside, thunder rolled over Gotham Harbor. Batman approved with a slight nod. First learn, then act. That night, they returned to the Batcave beneath Gotham. To Mowgli, it felt like a vast cavern where thousands of bats slept instead of wolves. Professor Harcourt spread the recovered documents across a table, while Batman searched encrypted files from Strange's computers. Hours passed. Rain drummed against the city above. At last, a pattern emerged. Project Red Flower wasn't about ordinary fire, said Harcourt. It was an excavation operation. Batman brought up an old map. The shipments included drilling equipment, explosives, fuel, and surveying tools. Mowgli looked at the stone tablet from the jungle. The symbols on it matched markings found in Strange's notes. He wasn't just searching for the forgotten city, Batman said. He already found part of it. Professor Harcourt pointed to a marked location. It lay beyond the Sunni Hills, deep within a remote valley. There, according to the files, Strange's men had uncovered a buried gateway of ancient stone. But the final report ended abruptly. Only 3 words were written across the page. Do not enter. Mowgli smiled. Warnings had never stopped a man-cub before. Then Batman uncovered one last file. A photograph appeared on the screen. It showed a massive carved gate rising from the jungle floor. On the gate was the same wolf symbol found on the tablet. And standing before it was a man Mowgli recognized immediately. Buldeo Asterisk, the hunter who had first attacked him. Buldeo had escaped. Worse, the timestamp on the photograph was only 2 days old. Someone was continuing Strange's work. Batman folded his arms. Locker 17 can wait. Buldeo is moving now. The trail was fresh. Mowgli sprang to his feet before the photograph had even faded from the screen. To the jungle. Mother Wolf gave a pleased rumble. Gray Brother barked happily. Even Batman seemed to expect that answer.